moment it begins, we will start. It begins, we will start. Okay, so a very, very good morning to all of you. And this is Bindu Bhatia. Start. I am the founder of NeuCode Talent Academy. Hey, so a very, very... Now, we are going YouTube live and we have lots and lots of people who have joined us here for this special day. And why this day is special, you will come to know as we unfold. But very, very fortunate to have for all the people, all our guest speakers who have agreed to join in. So without delaying any further, it's Pink October. And I want all of you, before I even invite our speakers, all our guests who are there watching us live, let us know, what does Pink October stand for you? What brings you here? You can unmute yourselves, those who are on Zoom, and talk, or you can write your responses on YouTube or Zoom, wherever you are. So over to all of you. What does Pink October mean to you? Why have you joined?
Pink stands for the wish and the hope and the commitment for all of us to stay in the pink of health.
Wow, pink of health. Excellent. Others? What brings you here in this forum? Okay, I can clearly see a lot of you here, but I think you will need some time to gear up. So without further delay, let me quickly call upon Dr. Preeti Jain, our first speaker of the day. Dr. Preeti Jain, can you come on camera, please?
Hello,
Hi, Doctor.
everyone. Hello, very good morning. And thank you so much for having me here.
Awesome. Welcome, ma'am. It's our honor to have you here. And I still remember last year we were having conversation. We just met by chance. I got lucky by chance, and I discovered your passion. I discovered how special you are, and we will talk about that. But let me, for the sake of audience, let me talk about Dr. Preeti Jain. Dr. Preeti has an experience in the field of surgical oncology for past 22 years. And she is few of very few female cancer surgeons in the country practicing entire spectrum of cancer surgery, and is the only lady cancer surgeon in the Mahakaushal region. Somebody, and personally I would say somebody that I really admire. You have been there, Dr. Preeti, in the times when I really needed you, not as a doctor, but just somebody to talk to, somebody to, help me remain positive in the tough times. And I think that was my driver, that we didn't need only a doctor. We needed somebody who was passionate about it and somebody who's also a healer of sorts. So thank you for joining.
So much. Thank you so much, Bindu.
So,
It's a
Dr. Preeti,
pleasure.
awesome. So first question that I have for you is the million-dollar question. What is cancer? And please, I know that you were talking about a lot about the myths about cancer and how does it happen. So let's start from the beginning. From a doctor's perspective, what is it?
See, by definition, cancer is an uncontrolled growth of tissues, and that growth doesn't serve any purpose in the body, but rather is harmful for the body. So it's basically your body's own cells that are, we are made up of trillions of cells, thousands of trillions of cells. And all these cells are continuously, constantly dividing, and the older cells are dying. This is a continuous process that's happening inside our bodies. And during this process, sometimes some defective cells are born, and which are very easily eliminated by our immune system. However, sometimes these cells, they become too smart, and they get away with all sorts of our security systems in the body, and they get unidentified. They go unidentified, and they become autonomous. They start growing on their own. They start drawing their own blood supply. They start behaving in a very, very nasty manner. They also have a capacity to invade and spread in other organs of the body. So that's exactly what cancer is, and this mass of cancer cells that grows is presented as a tumor. It presents as a tumor or a lump.
Awesome. That's the simplest definition I've heard, and thank you for bringing that. Now, Dr. Preeti, if I were to ask you a question,
Mhm.
why did you even choose cancer as your specialty?
Okay, so actually it was a very, very personal and emotional reason why I chose this specialty. When I was studying in my final year MBBS, my father unfortunately was detected with esophageal cancer. And while taking him for treatment and going through those 2 years of his intense treatment, I in very soon in this period, I decided that I'm going to do this. This is what I have to deal with, and by God's grace, I could pursue cancer as a specialty and to be able to serve a lot of people. I have
So it
been on
was
both the sides of the table, so I understand a lot of what goes on in the patient's mind, in their family, and so it's little different for me as compared to others who choose it as a profession.
It comes directly from your heart and you want to make a difference. So not only can you see a patient through the eyes of a doctor, but you can also feel the pain of the caretakers, and
Oh
I'm sure
yes.
patients must be very, very lucky to have a doctor who has that in mind. Thank you so much, Dr. Preeti. So we are just beginning. This is a Cancer Awareness Month, and we want to take as much information as we can from you. And before we move ahead, I want to invite another. So, our panel is very rich today. We have all perspectives of cancer. When cancer word comes in mind, there is a chill in the spine. Um, the word itself holds so much of horror in the lives, in our minds. And we want to break all those myths. We want to, simplify and understand what it is and face our fears instead of just carpeting it. So, with that, let me call upon our next guest, which is Mr. Paul George. Paul, are you there? Would want to invite you.
Hi, Bindu. Thank you so much. Lovely to meet you, Dr. Preeti. And this is, such a great platform. And thank you so much for building it. And just so happy to be here and to be able to share any kind of value that I can and what I've learned over the last few years from being a caregiver and, how that's developed into a journey.
Paul, I met you in during one of our programs that both of us were attending, a very intense, immersive healing and NLP program, I would say. And I still remember the state you were in. And let me give a brief about it to the audiences, why you are here, what you're doing. So, Paul is one of those people who uh, went through a lot of suffering because of a cancer patient in his own house. His mom had cancer. And he obviously went through a lot of emotional turmoil at that point in time. But what was inspiring for me was that he converted that turmoil into something very, very productive in his life. He left everything else and he started specializing. He made it a purpose, a vision in his life to serve as a counselor, to serve as a coach for not only the cancer patients, but also a counselor to the caregivers. And I think, Paul, up till last year, I did not understand, I'll be very honest, the importance of as much importance of what you were doing for the caregivers, because last year that, you know mm, horror stuck in my home, and my own sister was diagnosed of cancer, and that's when I truly really remembered you, and I was like, yeah, what he's doing is so meaningful, and this is worth to take it to more people around the world to make them understand that it's not a journey only of a patient, but also the caregivers go through a lot, the doctors go through a lot, and we are so thankful, so glad that you're here, Paul. uh, Quick introduction, what led you here and what do you do?
Sure. So, just to take it from where you left off, Bindu, it was typically that horror and that stigma when, of course, I was a layperson and my mom's symptoms came up, and we went to the doctor, and the doctor said to run a whole, do some tests, and then it came back, and that first word of, oh, this could be malignant or this could be cancer. And when that hit us as family members, let's say the immediate family members and the patient, that was the first time I felt so helpless as a human being, because I didn't know in what way could I contribute now and give some kind of support and be like, wow, why did I not learn more? How do I not know anything? And so the first place I obviously went to was to Google, and to try and take those reports and take all those medical terms, and I started becoming this self-learned doctor. And that's when I could see all our family dynamics, all our value systems, everything started getting shaky. So many instances, so many, if we had fights, now all of that was all out. It was like, oh my God, mommy's the number one. But what can we do? And now it's a life and death situation. What's going to happen if she's not there, if she's not? So I think that's what, and typically this didn't really go out well in my scene. But after my mom passed away, I said, hey, you know what? I know there are so many people who are also going through this. And we coming from such an educated family, if I didn't know it, imagine the number of people who didn't have that, lay people. And I said, let me try and see how I can add and contribute to people to say that it's not as bad as it looks. It's just about holding everything together, having the right set, and trusting your doctors and working with them, asking the right questions, feeling it's like another journey and building a new life. And I think that's something that motivated me to, take this further.
Thank you, Paul.
Amazing.
That is very, very
Truly inspiring.
truly inspiring. And uh, I'm feeling very fortunate to be on this ground with all of you. Okay, so before I move to next, I want to tell all the audiences here, please feel free to post your questions on the chat, and we will make our level best efforts to answer whatever you have. And now we have two very, very ultra special guests with us. We have Manisha and Ruchika. Can you come on the screen, please? Can you switch on your cameras and join us here?
Hi everyone.
Hi, Manisha. Super. And Ruchika, are you there? Let
Yes,
me.
hi everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining. And this couldn't have really been possible without everybody's presence. So thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Awesome. So, Manisha and Ruchika, you're the women I look up to. You are the women many, many thousands and millions of women around and people around the world look up to. You have been through the beast. And I'm calling it as beast and horror. And I know Dr. Preeti is, uh, right now literally cringing that don't Bindu. But that's what was my feeling at that time. So let me first give a little introduction of how I know Manisha and Ruchika as humans. Manisha, a former beauty pageant. She was a choreographer. She's a model in Seattle. She's lived almost the entire life in after marriage in US. And the day she decided to come back to India to take care of her mom, within a few months, what she found out was that she has cancer. And obviously, the world of the entire family came tumbling down. We also were as clueless as Paul said. And then started another beauty pageant for Manisha. And I was in awe. And I am very fortunate, Manisha, that I was there throughout the journey to see you with that resilience. And is it okay if I share some pictures of yours to show to the audience
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Manisha 1.0 and Manisha 2.0?
yeah, sure, please.
Okay. Can you all see this? If you look at the lady in red, that's Manisha. The beautiful one, that's Manisha. Trekking, hiking is her absolute passion.
Lovely.
She used to love. Are you all able to see?
Yes.
And this is the post picture. You know what? She is already going there again after cancer. So
Wow.
this is the fun she started having again. So here you go, and you'll see some glimpses of her journey. This is post. This is the phase when we got our hair cut.
Mm-hmm.
And this is her deep thought. Astor was the hospital where she got treated. Here she is seen standing with her dad. This is what we saw of Manisha in her first chemo. Can you beat it? I mean, wow, that's the journey. Now, here's the family, and here's this first day. Manisha, remember, this is the first day when you got your hair done. And
Mm-hmm.
this was the best hairstyle we could ever have on you. You looked cute, though. Um, I want to begin with also showing you some dances that we did. Um, just every chemo, one day before the chemo, we used to dance. Here, a now that's Manisha for you, full of life, full of jest. If you see all her pictures, they're all smiling. This is what Manisha stands for. Hair, no hair. This is how the journey went. And I would like to now call upon Manisha and ask you, what is it that you would want?
I'm sorry, I lost your voice, Bindu. I couldn't hear the question.
So, what is it that you would want to share about your journey in, very short, brief? How do you look back when you look back? What
One word,
stands out in me?
blessed,
One word.
blessed. I don't know, my life, one of my friend always says, how are you? And you would always say blessed. And I picked up that word, blessed. Because when I look back at to my journey, it came, um, lump just came up. I wasn't prepared for it. So far, I had been a mother, I've been a coach, I've been a model, I've been everything. And this was something like, what is this? And did not know that this would define me. It would bring something up which would make me take care of me and, gather everything from past, say thank you that it was wonderful. My past was amazing, but my life starts now because this was going to be a rebirth. I did not know if I'll be surviving this the first time I touched my lump. And it was just out of blue, like, okay, in US, we do every year checkup. And I'm like, okay, I am not feeling that good. I'm gonna go do this. And I felt the lump, and that night, I did not know if I'll be able to sleep or not. But I got up and I gathered myself thinking, no, let's get checked up. And I think that decision of mine, not getting scared of it, was the biggest thing. I'm like, hey, it's just a lump. Let me go get it checked first and see what happens. And after that,
Wow.
and and once I told my doctor and they confirmed that it was cancer, I cried. I was on the road, I was taking care of something, and I just cried. And I did not know what to do. I was in that situation where I was with some people and they just looked at me. I said, yeah, I have cancer. And I cried. I went inside, I did my work, and I got the call, go to Delhi immediately. And the first phone call did was let my kids know. I need you guys now. My kids and my family. And that's what I did. I just let everybody know. And second thing I know, everybody was next to me very next day. That was the last time I thought that I had cancer because everything was taken care of after that. They didn't let me think about a single thing. My kids were next to me from US next day. Bindu, my sister, everybody just came and just they took over. And that was it. I was taken care of. And all I had to do was be positive, like I'm going to be okay.
Beautiful.
I
And I
really
think that is touching. And thank you, Manisha, for going into those moments. I'm sorry I'm making you relive, but it's also a blessing. So thank you for sharing. Okay, so that talks about the importance of having family, folks all around in a cheering mode and not in a oh mode. I think that's one thing that I would take away. And I still remember, let me lighten the mood here. I still remember Manisha and I walk into the uh, hospital for admission because she was about to get her surgery done tomorrow, next day. And the nurse is asking, any sugar, BP issue, thyroid, and Manisha said, no, nothing, just cancer. And that was so funny. It was like, oh my God. And the nurse herself burst out of laughter. And that's what Manisha is for all of you guys. Now, let me move on to the next one, the specimen Ruchika that is sitting here. She attended one of my sessions. I've never met you, Ruchika, in person. I just realized, but it never feels like we haven't met. But we met during a session and we kept in touch. And then suddenly I get a call. I used to be in awe of Ruchika's hair. She used to have these long, awesome curls, and I remember her from that. And then suddenly I see her without it, and she's on a call, Zoom call, talking work with me. And I have my tears rolling down, and she's just cracking jokes. And I would want Ruchika, another inspiring woman. I mean, I didn't know what to say, how to react. Of course, I didn't want to sympathize, but it was all coming in. And it's very difficult for anyone to hear the news and don't know how to react. But then, Ruchika, that's the strength you brought about, the kind of one-liners you made that day. I have never laughed and cried at the same time so much. So I still remember that day. But I'm sure, Ruchika, you have much more to tell. So tell me, you were very young. I mean, 35.5 is what you specified, right? 35.5 years. Now, I remember we celebrated Manisha's 50th birthday while she was going through cancer. But yours is 35.5, and I'm sure that's a different dynamic altogether. So tell us all about it. Rip off that band-aid and unhealed wound or whatever it means. I know it'll be a little painful, but today is the day to inspire. You are the one who made it happen, Ruchika. You were behind me. And tell us.
Thank you, Bindu, and everybody here, especially Manisha Di. I would say that we all are like tea bags. Till the time we actually dip ourselves in the piping hot water, we really don't know how much strength we hold. And uh, listening to you, it was a big reminder that our narrative is in our hand, right? Um, and the moment I got to know that this is beyond the zodiac sign, Cancer is beyond the zodiac sign, I didn't want my narrative to be something that I didn't like. We all watch movies, and after some time we just wonder the narrative could have been different. So that was my first reaction, which I told Bindu also, that instead of why me approach that we all end up having in our mind, my approach has always been try me. And my narrative will be in my hand, especially for this bit, because um, most of the time it is all the mental game. And that is where I say that man ke hare haar hain and man ke jeete jeet. If you feel that, I think half of the battle is won. So in this journey, I will kind of share three things: reflect, reimagine, and reset. Reflect on your life's journey, because we can only connect the dot backwards, right? We can't really look ahead. So I would say in the mess, you kind of create a message for yourself. And my message was pretty much clear that this will not be my narrative. I will do anything and everything to come out of it. And within 10 months, I was out of it, and nobody could see in the hospital that I was a patient, because I would play board games with the other patients, would meet kids on Christmas time. I remember on Christmas I had chemo, and I was in the kids section. I was playing the Secret Santa with them. I became the Santa for them, and nobody would end up thinking that I am the patient, and they would end up asking, where is the patient? Can you call the patient? Why is the patient roaming in the hospital? So I think whenever life throws something at you, it's up to you how you want to respond or react to it. So my response was try me, and the narrative will not be the same. So two messages on that. And kind of when I reimagined how it would be, that is the second thing I would say, that it was very unclear, and which I also mentioned to you and Paul as well, that throughout the journey, Manisha, they would also recollect that your focus is fully on I want to get better, because there is so much to do in life. And जिंदगी भले ही इतनी लंबी नहीं हो, पर जो भी हो अच्छे से हो, बाबू मोशाय मोड। एंड मौत कभी भी आए पर बोल दो आज नहीं कल आना टाइप्स, राइट? आज मेरा दिन नहीं है, दैट इज व्हाट आई वुड से। एंड बट द डे आई गॉट डन विद द ट्रीटमेंट, it all became blurry to me. I was like, what now? Because I couldn't relate to my past self. Present is the reality which I'm living, and the future I don't know. So we all say that make plans or goals. I say something to look forward to, which is like a purpose in life. So just create a mini purpose or have a purpose of waking up every day. So that is the reimagine bit I did for myself. And I want to do this, I want to do that. And most importantly, it's okay to be vulnerable, which put your guards down, take off the shield, right? Because we don't show that side. And that is me. I never showed my vulnerable side even to my parents. And having no siblings, most of my cousins and everybody is in a different city, so no sibling of your age could talk to, could share your, like, open your heart out. What would you do? You just go to your room and cry your heart out, or just do anything and everything. So um so that was another bit wherein I reimagined how my life would be. And the third bit is it's 2.0 in making, rather 3.0. The day you realize that it's the only life, one life, so you start to work more towards making it in a joyful and contentment manner. So I'm resetting my narrative every day. Climax, trying to make it anti-climax. So yeah, that's a bit about me. And I would just say one thing, which I also told Bindu. My surgery was next day after my birthday. So it was technically a rebirth for me, and my grandfather didn't know I had this huge thing. Like, my parents would dread saying it. My mother tilled it. She dreads saying it. She says, problem hai. I'm like, that's the elephant in the room. We can't say problem hai. And I lost my grandfather during the treatment after my last chemo, and I was so happy that at least I'll get to spend birthday with the family. It's like rebirth before the surgery, right? And I lost my grandfather, and I recollect what he would tell me. Life will throw challenges at you. How you respond to it? Ya to khushi khushi with a smile. It will look slightly easy, but the moment you start crying, moment you start take it that why me, it's every time it happens with me, the victim mode picks up. The journey is not that simple. So that is another bit I always remember.
That's a choice you make. And
Yes.
Chika, I'm so glad to hear you out, and Manisha, to hear you out. The choices you made, that, hey, you know what? है ना, कोई बात नहीं, देखी जाएगी. And Ruchika's favorite line, मिट्टी पा, right? So all the
Correct.
Punjabis out there would know what I'm saying. So yeah, I think that's the strength, that's the courage. And if there's any cancer patient in this watching this video, remember, it's like that. Mitti pa, aage बढ़, change your narrative. No need to be victim. But now I am coming to Dr. Preeti now, and there are a lot of questions people have around cancer. Would love to hear from you, Dr. Preeti. What are the myths about cancer? Why is it such a horror, stigma? Like we are defining it, right? Big thing, elephant in the room. So I want you to share with us your perspective about cancer.
See, there are a lot of myths that go around in the society about cancer. The first thing is cancer is a death sentence. A lot of people think that a diagnosis of cancer comes with probably a death certificate, that, my life is finished, my life is over. But I really love the way these two women have, fought with it and have come out as victors. So, cancer, in fact, is curable to a large extent. Most of the cancers are, if they are detected early. So this is where the role of awareness comes in, that we need to know. See, closing your eyes doesn't take that elephant away. So it's important that we understand the early signs and symptoms of cancer. So number one is cancer being lethal, the biggest myth. The another myth that comes a lot in our way of treating patients and diagnosing them is the idea that they have about having a spread of the disease the moment something touches the tumor, or the moment it is biopsied, or the moment you undergo a surgery, the tumor is going to spread. That there's nothing like that. See, औजार लगने से कैंसर फैल जाएगा is exactly what they talk, the language that they use, कि चाकू लगने से कैंसर फैलता है, which is absolutely not true. कैंसर का फैलना, कैंसर का बढ़ना, ये कैंसर का अपना स्वभाव है. It is encoded in the genetics of that cancer cell as to in how many days the cancer is going to double itself. See, we call it as a cell doubling time. So people think that, oh, my cancer started growing faster the moment it was biopsied. It's not true. You will perceive it as growing faster because as the days pass by, when it was 1 cell to 2 cells, suppose it was in 10 days. 10 days, it comes from 1 cell to 2 cell. 10 days, it becomes from 2 to 4. 10 days, it will become 1 crore to 2 crores. And in 10 days only, it will become 100 crore to 200 crores. So when it is becoming 1 to 2, you are not able to see the difference. But when it goes from 5 centimeters to 10 centimeters, you're seeing a gross difference. As you perceive that it's growing faster. But it's actually the game of the doubling time. So the doubling time remains the same, irrespective of whether you touch it, you don't touch it, you look at it, you don't look at it, you biopsy, you do not biopsy. So this is the most important thing that I would convey to the entire audience, that please do not be afraid of putting a needle or a biopsy or any surgical procedure for that cancer, because that doesn't harm anybody.
Thank you, Dr. Preeti. In fact, I have heard myself a lot about it, that if you touch it, it'll, spread. So, in there is a study which says that numbers are exponentially increasing everywhere of the cancer patients. Is that true? Is there something that you have also seen?
It's
The
actually
number of
it's actually both ways. The number of cancer patients is increasing because cancer itself is occurring more often in humans. And second thing is, we are detecting more cancers. We are getting more aware. Earlier people used to die without having a diagnosis. They would just think that this is something with jadi booty, desi ilaj and all that used to go on. But now we all are more aware. So there are more cancer diagnoses happening. And yes, of course, the cancer is on the rise. See, there are multiple factors which are leading to this rise. One is increasing population. The baseline, there are too many humans, so there are too many cancers. So for that matter, all diseases are increasing. But yes, there are other factors like lifestyle factors and
That brings me to next question, and this is by Danesh, that what are the lifestyle modifications needed to maintain our body in a better way to avoid cancer? What can we do to prevent or avoid?
the healthy lifestyle that we always talk about in whether it comes to prevention of a heart disease or diabetes or for that matter cancer, because cancer is also a lifestyle disease. It is now being defined as a lifestyle disease only because, see, there is no direct cause and effect relation between something and cancer. But a lot of things collectively, like for example, you have a lung cancer which occurs because of smoking. So there is a cause and effect relation. Oral cancers largely because of tobacco and gutka chewing and all that. But breast cancer per se doesn't have a direct cause and effect relation, but there are risk factors. So whenever we talk about prevention, we need to look at, can we reduce some of the risk factors? See, there are factors like being a female predisposes you to breast cancer. You have breasts, so you are likely to develop breast cancer. Those things are
So
not
then,
under our control.
then do men not have breast cancers?
Oh, yes, they also have. They do have. Men have breast tissue and breast cancers. They occur in men also, but much less common.
Okay, because that was a new thing we were discussing in the morning, so I wanted to bring it up that yeah, I didn't know that men also have breast cancer. But so in terms of lifestyle, is there anything else that you would want to add? I mean, something that can help?
Specifically to cancer, if you look at the risk factors, a very, very common and the rising factor is having late pregnancies, having no pregnancies, and not breastfeeding your child.
Oh.
These three things, if they're corrected to a large extent, we can, avoid having these cancers. Breastfeeding, they say that if you have breastfed your child for a year, it protects you from breast cancer. The more the number of pregnancies and the more the number of children breastfeeding, you get more protection against breast cancer. This could be one of the reasons why breast cancer is on the rise, because nowadays we decide not to have children,
Late pregnancies,
have
yeah.
very late pregnancies, very few pregnancies, and then after the childbirth, the women, they are unable to feed their children because of their work pressures.
Hmm. Hmm.
So these are the things that specifically for breast cancer we can do. Yes, Manisha.
So, all three things is wrong in my case. I got married early, I got kids early, I did breastfeed more than a year, right?
Hmm.
So,
That
is it like the kind of cancer that that affects the people who do not have, who have those three things, and then in my case, it was like
No,
totally
Manisha,
different.
this is not a cause and effect relation again. They
Mm-hmm.
are just simply called as risk factors. They
Yes.
increase or decrease somebody's risk to a little bit extent.
Mm.
But collectively, a lot of these things, your genetic makeup, there are a lot of other things that
Other.
environmental factors, your food, the kind of stress levels we have,
Mhm.
the kind of chemical changes that keep happening in the body, your hormones, a lot of things play a role. So it's very difficult to say who will have and who won't have. One in
Mhm.
8 women is already suffering from breast cancer.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So there is another question, and thank you for clarifying that it's not a cause and effect. It's, you
Yeah.
know,
It
more of
contributes. They're just
it
contributing.
could be a contributor. While looking back doesn't really help, but then looking forward, so for all the women out there, that must be a very good information. Another question that we have, Dr. Preeti, is that when we use water filters at home, non-stick utensils, storing foods in plastic, are these also the cause of increasing cancer? Does it also lead, or is it a myth? What would you say?
Again, no, it's not 100% a myth. They
Mm.
are toxic. There are toxic substances, and in a lot of places, the plastics wherein the food is stored, they are actually food grade plastics, which do not leave microplastics into the food.
Mm.
However, in our country, we know how it goes. So there are
Mm.
all sorts of qualities, and a lot of people, they go in for the inferior quality stuff, and that over a long period of time, they can definitely lead to entry of carcinogens inside the body. However, there are a lot of other ways. We are already like inhaling. We are inhaling this air. This air
Mm.
itself has a lot of carcinogens. So better to avoid whatever we can avoid.
Mm. Mm. Got it. So let me now change the gears and ask Paul. Paul, you have been counseling cancer patients and the caregivers. What are the top three messages you want to give to these people, and anything that you want to share about your experience in counseling them?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very valid question, but I just want to pick up on, hearing messages from Manisha, from Rishika, from Dr. Preeti. You can really understand it's what's that initial decision that has been taken. Like that small message of calling the children and saying, I need you now. That's to say that, yes, I'm ready to accept help. For Rishika to say that, hey, I'm in control of this narrative. You know, and these are really, really small aspects, but these are aspects that the patient has to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So right now, let's say with all of us, with family around, we're cheering, but then the patient or the caregivers go into their solo zones, and that's when they need to start, really, really working on the narrative. One thing that, I was grateful that the universe gave me this opportunity to work with patients, and I got to work with like many patients over the last 8 years with various types of cancer. So I used to tell the team, let's see if we can bring about patterns because we didn't know what was the exact cause. Let's see what are some of the patterns that are emerging from the patients. So one thing that I noticed, like let's say with breast cancer patients, it was what were the kind of relationships that the women were having with the male figures in their environment, you
Wow.
know? And I correlated that with prostate cancer from men. I was like, what was the kind of relationships that men were having with the women figures in their, family? With, let's say, ovarian cancers, we realized that a lot of the patients during their counseling sessions and when we would read the synopsis documents were like, they were suppressing something. It was just suppressing their creativity. They'd want to be an artist, but they're in the corporate world. They'd want to have a child, but then work pressure. Brain tumor patients, very aggressive, very angry. My coaches, when we would talk to them constantly, because brain tumors were like very more strong-minded people. So these kind of patterns, of course, we did get one paper published at it was a Journal for Precision Oncology because we said, hey, these are patterns. Are they going to add value to the patient's hearing? At the same time, it's a small percentage because doctors, of course, they're seeing lots of patients. But these kind of patterns, at least I could build up, to say that, hey, these are areas that you could work in. So yeah, I mean, it's not specific that something is causing it, but there is these
There
patterns.
is a pattern, there's a wow, and that I have never
Really
heard. So thank you
interesting.
so much.
Interesting.
That's very interesting. Paul, I also know that you've written a book. Would you want to talk about that?
So the book predominantly was a condensation of I've worked with over about 500, 600 patients, and I started condensing what was the typical, the problems that were coming out from a lay person's perspective. Because today, the healthcare has developed so much in cancer. Like I'm not scared today if I get diagnosed because I know it's developed brilliantly.
Hope it never happens, but yeah, okay.
Absolutely. And because it is a lifestyle, it's a lifestyle. It's a quick check to say that, hey, this is the lifestyle I was leading, so I'm here. But now from here, what is the lifestyle I want to build and go forward? And what do I want to make significant changes in?
Mm.
And I think from that, I typically understood that, okay, these are some of the main points. What's the type of culture you come from? What's the kind of thinking patterns you have? How has the families dealt with fear? How has you as a family thought about fear? Like my family, we've never been to hospitals, thankfully, touch wood. We were always healthy. We've had like just minor. So going into that hospital was traumatizing for all of us.
Mm.
Just
Mm.
being in that hospital environment, the smells of the hospital and all of that. So I think the book pretty much I wanted to say that chemotherapy is for the body, but it takes away the good cells and the bad cells. But we need to have some chemotherapy for the mind now, wherein you have limiting beliefs about this. So there will be some good beliefs also that you have, but now you need to change that to build this new thing. So that was typically
I
the
loved how you connected chemotherapy with the
I
brain,
said,
and
you need to
wow,
do
that is
chemotherapy for the mind now.
wow. Chemo for the mind. So what's the title of your book? If somebody
Chemotherapy for the mind.
Is
what?
it?
It's called chemotherapy for the mind. Yeah, it's
Oh,
on Amazon.
wow. Okay, so good. And everyone out there, if you want to listen to Paul for his perspective about all his 500-600 patients and the patterns and his experience, please go ahead and
Where
see
can
what
we
is
get
there.
this book, Paul?
It's actually on Amazon, Doctor.
From something? Huh?
It's on
It's on
Amazon.
Amazon, so you
Yeah.
can always buy that. Now coming to what next? So I know Ruchika is also working very passionately on some things. So Ruchika, reset is the word that you used in your cancer journey throughout. And Reset with Ruchika is what she calls her initiative as. Ruchika has been running gratitude circles and she's starting in a big way. She's also running lean in circles. And the reason I've called all of you here is because you're definitely special. All of you, whatever you're doing right out of passion and with the one single intent that we want to help others who are going through this journey. I didn't have to ask like even second time to five of you, four of you sitting here that would you come? I mean, you were all in. So, Ruchika, coming to you, just 1 minute of what are you trying to do now and how you're resetting the Ruchika and the world. You were HR head for a big organization, a couple of big organizations, and then you left your career. And what are you up to now?
If at all I have the permission to share my screen and show one image, I probably that will be
Please.
helpful.
Okay.
So this is me. I call myself Wonder Woman. Keep wondering what to do more. So that one thing on a daily basis I could do to make it more meaningful. So this is me changing the narrative on a daily basis. And right now I am here to support anybody and everybody who is trying to change their narrative in life, and especially uh, I'm part of a couple of communities. I started one community, Lean In With Hope, for cancer warriors and giver, wherein we would be sharing our journey. And this journey will not be a lonesome journey. We all are in this together. And this is the second bit. And like you said, we would be starting something very, very soon, a gratitude circle. It's so easy to say that we don't have this or we don't have that, but we forget that it's a small joys, and that we are alive and we could see light of the day on a daily basis is something we all need to be grateful for. We conveniently forget. So we are very soon. I mean, I'm very grateful to Bindu and the team and everybody out here to give the space wherein we could help you and support you in your journey. So, if at all you are keen to be part of the gratitude circle through Positive Lights, I would be supporting and hosting this along with the team. So, do join the same, and I'll share if at all you have anybody who is fighting cancer, who is thriving through it, or a caregiver want to share or talk. I'm sharing a couple of links. More than happy to support you. So, thank you so much.
Super.
And
Thank you, Ruchika. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I was just saying, I'm a movie buff. I would say the start is not in your hand, but the end could be in your in your hand. And जिंदगी लंबी भले नहीं हो पर बड़ी तो हो ही सकती है बाबू मोशाय. So that's one way.
Amazing.
Awesome. What a powerful note. Manisha, I know you are going awesome. See, it's just, I think not even an year since you have you're off cancer right now, and you're already spending 2 hours a day in the gym. You've already started traveling. Hats off to you. But what's behind the scenes, Manisha? What goes inside? What is it after cancer journey that it looks like? I wouldn't judge it by the pictures. I would hear from your own within yourself.
So I keep telling myself, I don't like to be sad. I don't like to, be a victim. I want to be me and keep moving. So it's been tough, no doubts. The medications we take, the medication I was taking was making me lethargic, was not letting me to do, even get up and brush my teeth sometimes. And I started noticing those things because I'm not that person. The first thing I did was go talk to my doctor that this is not me. Is it going to be like that? So I am right now questioning everything that I'm going through and talking through and making sure that the information I'm getting is, does it work with me? Because every cancer is different, every body is different, everything is different. So I'm taking one step at a time to, how bacha एक एक माँ मतलब knock on the door every time बच्चे आपको knock करते रहते हैं to see your patience. So I keep knocking my body and my mind to see my patience, how far I can go. So it took me some time. I am right now on the way to recovery and recently जो मेरा था कि मैं अपना आर्म यूज नहीं कर सकती हूँ, मुझे ये नहीं करना, मुझे वो नहीं करना, एंड आई केप्ट नॉकिंग ऑन डॉक्टर्स डोर, व्हाई कांट आई डू दिस, व्हाट इज स्टॉपिंग मी, व्हाई शुडंट आई सी पीपल डू इट, राइट? सो फाइनली आई गॉट माई आंसर, नहीं नहीं ऐसा नहीं है, थोड़ा कर सकते हो, इतना कर सकते हो, पुश योर बॉडी, सी वेयर यू आर. So I'm not giving up on myself. I want to reach to the tracking point where I was and more. So my passion is tracking, my passion is hiking. I'm going to reach, I'm 50. I know ऐसे भी body नीचे हो जाता है, but I will keep doing that. And in the way, I want people to know when I go to gym, people, oh, your hairstyle is cool. How did that happen? I don't shy away from saying this is my chemo curls. I went through cancer. It's not that I want pity from them. It's not that I don't, oh my God, is it? No. I want you to know. Go get yourself checked. Take
You
care
got
of
me
yourself.
checked also.
I
And
don't know why. It's
yeah.
like if I wouldn't have checked myself, मैं डॉक्टर के पास जाती नहीं हूँ. I'm a healthy person, right? So मुझे mentally I'm disturbed or whatever, I don't even go for that. So keep checking. I keep telling people that's how I'm helping the women around me. 45, please go get checked. अरे डॉक्टर के पास नहीं जाते, शर्म ना करो, अपने आप को चेक करो. Learn how to check yourself. That's the first step. And that's how, so I tell. I am I'm proud of, I always had straight hair. I love my chemo hair.
Now you don't
Right?
need those hot curling irons. Okay.
Exactly,
So
right? So
that is so
that's my
beautiful.
one step by step taking care of myself first. And then any chance I get to help people, I would do that.
You know,
So
the biggest change and being part of that whole journey of yours was, Manisha, that since childhood, I've only seen Manisha is all about others. What do you want? What can I do for you? And it was never about self. But after cancer journey, I see Manisha talking about me for the first time in my life. And I'm so proud and can't tell you how nice it feels when you took sabbatical to just take care of yourself.
Yes.
You are doing what you always wanted to do. Nothing. You're unstoppable. You're that Porsche
Yeah, we were not taught
with
that.
very mindful breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So, to end this session, I know it's already, I would love to, go on with the session, but I'm mindful of your time as well. It's weekend. So, Dr. Preeti, top three things you've been messaging about, what can we do as, any top three things that you would want to tell the group?
Most important is breast self-examination.
Mhm.
Any woman above 20 years of age, examine yourself once in a month. Some other time we can talk about the details of, however, you can Google and find out. You have YouTube videos on breast self-examination. Ideal time is at the end of your periods, the day you stop bleeding. You fix that. For women who are postmenopausal, they can choose any date of the month and examine themselves. Give yourself 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't take longer than that. In a few months, you will get to know what my normal structure is, and then you will be the first person to detect any kind of abnormality that is happening in your breast. So please go for a breast self examination. Women above 40 years of age should get a baseline mammogram done, and preferably an annual physical checkup by a clinician, by an expert, and an annual mammography are important. For women who have a strong family history of breast cancer, like their mother had, their masi had, nani had, or multiple women in the family had, they have to be little more careful with their breasts, and they need to start their screening and their consultations much earlier than others. And another thing is, eat healthy diet, exercise, take care of yourself, stay stress free, because stress is one of the very, very important factors that causes a hormonal change and a lot of chemical changes in your body that lead to a lot of diseases, cancer. Stay away from smoking. Smoking in women is a fashionable thing in a lot of places. So women's tissues are much more sensitive to developing cancers as a result of exposure to smoking as compared to a man's. So if a man is smoking in the house, and even if the woman is smoking passively, she is likely to develop cancers more than the man does. So it's very important.
I
Yeah.
didn't know about it. Wow, okay, that was very helpful. And you also talked about stress, and that is where my belief system comes in. I started this NeuCode Talent as an organization only because I knew that it's all here in the mind. And that's one message from my side to everyone who's listening. It all begins from here. What you feed in every day to the mind. I love the title of your book, Paul, Chemotherapy for the Brain. Now I'm going to steal that and say that if you need any help, it's not only that you have cancer and then you reach out, but one of the best preventive measures of a lot of diseases is to take care of this. We do a lot of work at New Code Talent to help you be there. Um, Please go ahead, check out our LinkedIn profiles. And this is not something for just marketing, it is about the genuine intent to help. So, all these four people sitting here, I have had their personal commitments to be there when someone needs it. And that's my commitment to all of you. If you need help, just raise your hands. You're all part of Positive Lights. If you are not, then please write to me on LinkedIn and I'm going to add you to Positive Lights group. Now, that's a wonderful community we have built since 2015. And that's again to deal with anything that you're going through, any stress. Let's not let it reach to the level that it creates a disease. So, with that note, what a powerful talk. Let's give a big round of applause to all the speakers here, to all the guests who have joined in. It means a lot for us, guys. I will be sharing the link with you. Please share the recordings. If we can help, let us know. Stay strong, stay healthy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much, Big.